In this practice, we'll stay pretty low to the ground so that we can address both knee and hip stability and flexibility. In this practice, I'll use several props, and I've got them here with me. I have a rolled blanket, a rolled washcloth, blocks, and a bolster. If these are things that you don't have, surely you'll be able to improvise. We'll begin seated, and I'd like to use the blocks for this action. In a seated position with your blocks forward, place your right calf right on the blocks, just below the knee. With the left leg straight, the right knee bent, with your toes engaged and dorsiflexion of the ankle, lift your right leg up and down. Just tap the right foot up, take it down. Notice how you have to engage the quadriceps. So in this practice, we'll be working with quadriceps and hamstrings and the inner thigh muscles to create that stability in the knee and the hip. So keep on lifting. You notice how the knee, you feel kind of a strengthening action there. The toes stay active. You just do a slow and easy lift to the right foot, tapping it down. Now we'll change. Take the blocks under the left calf muscle, and if that doesn't feel right, you may want to just use a roll blanket or a thick rolled towel, your choice. Have the right leg very active with the left toes lifting and spreading. If you can, lift your left foot up and down. Just keep the action going. Lift up and feel how the engagement of the thigh muscles help a nice ease in the action. I see I'm also moving my blocks, so let's see if I can keep the blocks more stable. There you go. And lift up, slowly moving the heel up and down with a lot of engagement in both legs for this movement. Two more. And one more. Release out of that pose. Use your blocks again. I'm using these narrow blocks. I actually prefer the wider block for this. Bend your knees and come to lie down. Place your block, or blocks plural in this case for me, right to the inner thigh so that you feel the inner thigh muscles really hugging in. Press your elbows down with the palms facing each other. Inhale, lift your pelvis up. Exhale, take it down. Go so slowly. Inhale, rise up. Exhale down. Keep pulling from the heels in toward your heart. Nice isometric action so that you can engage your hamstrings nicely as you keep a nice, steady, and easeful action in the lifting up of the pelvis and drawing down. Nice slow and steady movements. Now keep the pelvis lifted, and as you're squeezing the blocks, see about reaching your right leg pretty much at the same thigh height as the left, and tap it down. And again, reach it out and down, and reach out. Really feel the inner thigh muscles grabbing onto the block, and down. Two more. Reach out and down. One more. And down. Release your pelvis. When you look at the action, it doesn't seem that challenging. But if you're really doing the squeezing in of the blocks as you lift up the leg and you're going slow, you start to feel how it shifts the engagement around the pelvis and the knees. Lift your pelvis up again, squeeze the blocks, lift your left foot up and down and up and down, up and down and up and down, up and down. Release your pelvis to the floor. Take your blocks out from the inner thighs and place them to the side. Do one more bridge pose as you press your elbows down. Lift the pelvis up really high. And notice how the engagement of your thighs and your feet and the hamstrings is so much more active. Release your pelvis down to the mat. Come to a tabletop position. Tabletop position, look at your feet. They should line up right behind your knees. So now you can't see your feet with your toes tucked under. Inhale, draw your heart forward, lift your chin. Exhale, get your back body to be full. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Come back to tabletop position. Lift up to come to downward facing dog. Make it a shorter downward dog by taking your hands closer to your feet. Now walk the hands a little bit closer to your feet. You can bend your knees here. With your knees bent, place your hands right above your knees. Inhale, draw your heart forward. Exhale, cat-cow here, just moving the spine nicely. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, create a W position with your hands up, with your fingers spread. Keep your left knee bent. Reach your right foot back to take the right hip in extension. Keep your left leg bent, but just lift your right foot up. So see if you can keep your right leg straight. Just lift up and tap. Seems like this should be really easy, but you'll find that it's quite challenging to keep the left leg bent. The arms help you open your chest. Just tapping the right toes back, keeping nice tone as you engage your glutes. You keep steadiness in the left leg. Release your right foot. Now pull in. So you draw your hands to your shin bone and you go from hip extension to hip flexion. You can release your right foot down and pause. Bend your knees again. take the tops of the thighs back. See if you can take a little bit more weight on your heels before taking your arms in this cactus pose or W shape. Now with the right knee bent, extend your left toes back. Now lift up the left foot, tap it down. Just a little bit of lift before tapping it down. Lift and tap it down. Lift and tap it down. Lift, lift, tap it down. Lift, tap it down, and lift your left foot up. Grab hold of the shin bone, interlace your fingers, hug it in. Release your left foot down. We'll come back to a seated pose. Extend your right foot forward. Bend your left knee. For some of us that have knee injuries, a little space behind the knee, I've rolled up a washcloth and press that right to the back of the knee so that you can take your left foot just alongside your hip. Now that's not necessary for all of us. So your choice as you take your left heel just alongside your pelvis and keep your right leg straight. Just draw forward slightly. Now, if you feel really out of balance, use your right hand to press into the floor to get your left hip to establish more of a foundation as you give the back of the hamstring a nice stretch on the right leg. Now, for some of us, if bending the left knee in this manner is too difficult for you, you may wish to just take the foot in a tree pose, the left foot in a tree pose, with the left knee going out to the left side. Let's continue to stretch the back side of the leg. And now come out of the pose. We'll go to the opposite side. So stretch your left foot forward. Bend your right knee and park the right heel just alongside the pelvis. Use your left hand now to stabilize the right sit bone as you draw forward. Sometimes people like using a strap. You can take your hand to the shin bone or the foot. Just allow for length to the back side of the leg. We're not trying to take our nose to the shin bone. We're actually trying to reach the nose as if it's beyond your foot. So we're trying not to round the back too much in this version. Inhale, rise up and straighten your right leg. If you've got a bolster, grab it and place it right behind the low back. You might also use a rolled towel if that works better for you. Now bend your left knee, and again, you can come to that tree form of the pose, or if you can take your heel right alongside the pelvis to come to Ekapada Supta Virasana. One leg is extended, the other leg has a nice bend. You're able to open your chest really nicely here. Enjoy a nice in-breath and out-breath. In this practice, we focused on the hip and the knee, and to stabilize and align the knee. You need to take a great attention to the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the adductors, the inner thigh muscles need to be strong. So working on strength and length in these poses will help us work to stabilize the knee. As you come out of the pose, use your elbows, your arms to help lift yourself up out of the pose. Straighten your left leg, bend your right knee, draw yourself into the pose. Again, if this is not working for this side, just compare the two sides now. For those of us that cycle a lot, chances are your quadriceps are a little bit tight, and this pose might be a little extreme for you. So go slowly or prop yourself up so that you're not going to this full supine position. Enjoy your breath. Soften your facial muscles. Invite fullness of the in-breath and the out-breath. And slowly press your elbows down to lift yourself up with the strength of your arms. Place your feet together, knees wide apart, and draw back again. Supta Baddha Konasana. Just allow nice ease in your breath. If this is not comfortable for you, then you can straighten your legs. Let's use these last few minutes of the practice to assimilate the actions that we did. Allow the in-breath and the out-breath to flow very easily. Breathe in deep and out long. Breathe in deep and out long. Breathe in deep and out long. Slowly, with your knees bent, plant your feet. Roll over to your side. Use your hands to lift yourself up to come to a seated position. Let's honor the teachings of yoga the practice that takes us deeper into the knowledge of our own selves. To the teachings, we bow. Namaste.